Hello, I'm Alex. Here we are again with 4 months of Oscar winners of Best Actress. And here's starring Reese Witherspoon in her Oscar-winning performance as June Carter. We had the modern rock and roll biopic love story, Walk the Line, released by Fox 2000 Pictures, which was a sub-company of 20th Century Fox, obviously, in 2005 with Joaquin Phoenix as J.R. Cash, a.k.a. Johnny Cash, and his whole influence in music as a boy, with his older brother Jack dying in a saw accident, being emotionally abused by his father, played chillingly and fantastically by Robert Patrick, to then serving in the Korean War, not giving a damn, meeting and falling in love with Vivian, played well by Ginnifer Goodwin, but all along that time of quiet desperation, he had followed the music and life of the Carter family, June in particular, who was never really taken seriously for her voice and music. With the right spirit and perseverance, Johnny sums up the courage and auditions for Sam Phillips at the famous Sun Records, where Dallas Roberts gives a great small performance as Phillips and gives that wonderful little monologue telling JR, if you was hit by a truck and you were lying and dying in that gutter, you had time to sing one song, right? One song to let people know how you felt about your time down on earth. You wouldn't been singing no Jimmy Davis gospel tune we hear all the time. You'd sing something special. It got nothing to do with believing in God, Mr. Cash. It has everything to do with believing in yourself. Thus, Folsom Prison Blues, Johnny Cash's original song he wrote in the Air Force, sees the light of day, and he becomes a big sensation on tour, alongside Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, Waylon Jennings, and of course, Elvis. And what do you know? June Carter pops up on the tour, and what chemistry they form, that you feel the desire. You feel that these two are meant to be. But of course, something is always getting in the way, like other marriages, and the fact that they both have children. But the musical growth of both Johnny and June is the key element that keeps the fire going, and yet it burns, 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 the ring of fire, which June Carter wrote, of course. Through it all, through divorce, through drug addiction, June is there for her friend, Johnny, and he is there for her. So you wonder, if you didn't know the ending of the story, will this love story really blossom and come true? It's kind of funny to ask that, considering how popular Johnny Cash and June Carter is, but you'd be surprised how so many people don't even know who these amazing artists are. Shocking, I know. But ladies and gentlemen, to put it bluntly, I adore this film. It's one of those few rock and roll biopics I really love, and is miles ahead from Bohemian Rhapsody and, from what it looks like, Bob Marley, One Love, which I have not seen yet. What makes it so damn great, what gives it its beautiful essence, is the fact that Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon sing with their own voices and play their own guitars and auto harp. Why don't actors really do that anymore in biopics, for crying out loud? Sure, they may not sound like them at all, and they may not look like them, but damn it, it didn't matter. You buy them completely as a couple. It may have bothered me when I first saw it as a kid, because I grew up listening to and loving Johnny Cash, and we always want the purest biopic where you find the exact right person to look and sound just like the artist. So basically covering on imitation. But not everyone can be like Jamie Foxx and Ray. Not everyone can be like Sissy Spacek and Coal Miner's Daughter. But you know what? Not everyone can be Joaquin and Reese in this, who give absolutely fantastic performances, and quite for the longest time, it was my favorite performance from Joaquin. It might still be my favorite from him. Classic Joaquin, he sinks himself into the role, learning to play guitar, learning to embellish his voice more in the cadence of Johnny Cash, locking in his signature stance when he performs his concert. As he cocks his head to the side, he hunches up his shoulders with his guitar. It's magical stuff. He sounds wonderful on all the numbers, but especially Ring of Fire, Home of the Blues, and Cocaine Blues that he performs at Folsom. I freaking love that whole scene, because you really get the flavor of his connection with his audience, especially for that album, Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison, which was just cutting edge. Quoting from the album, "My hat's off to you, because I ain't never had to drink this yellow water you got here at Folsom." Breaks the glass of water, crescendos. "This song's for your warden," starts Cocaine Blues. It's damn hot. With his musical inclination aside, which actually earned Joaquin, along with T-Bone Burnett, its music supervisor, a Grammy. So that's right, Joaquin is 2 away from being an EGOT. Let's go, man. But aside from that, the dramatic scenes, of course, are so powerful and moving. Joaquin just gives so much in silence when he's talking about his deceased brother, when he stares lovingly into June's eyes, and brutal Robert Patrick is equally so damn menacing and powerful, where I wish he was nominated for an Oscar for this, though his role was too small. That hadn't stopped the Academy before, damn it. Now, Reese Witherspoon, Oscar winner for this, she is wonderful, extremely confident, and is the core concrete heart of the film. The angel, as John puts it, that saves him from the depths of hell. She is hilarious as her caricature, June. Look at her first scene about a half hour into the picture, where she gets all tangled up in Johnny Cash's guitar strap. And effective when it comes to the hard moments of her 2 divorces. The scene where she's receiving heavy judgment from Christian folk. We feel for June there. Her musical abilities here are so lovely, which both she and Joaquin's 6 months of vocal training show fantastically. They apparently didn't get along with each other during those sessions, since it was hard work. Joaquin's voice was so high versus Johnny's bass, but once they started filming, they became dear friends and made a pact that if either one of them dropped out of the picture, the other one would leave too. Their chemistry is just a thunderous treasure and makes their story ever more special. The rest of the supporting cast is great, with Ginnifer Goodwin as Johnny's first wife, Vivian. Kathy Cash, Johnny and Vivian's second oldest child after Roseanne, said it really didn't paint her in the right light. I mean, that totally makes sense. But Johnny's bandmates, who actually was Ice in Hocus Pocus. That's wild. But Waylon Payne as Jerry Lee, Tyler Hilton as Elvis, Shooter Jennings playing his dad, Waylon, they're all wonderful. I can talk on and on about each and every little scene, but one scene in particular that still hits hard is its ending. John and June are performing another one of their tours where Johnny is singing Ring of Fire, and there is already tension between the two because of how many times Johnny had asked June to marry him, and her brushing it off. And Johnny's ultimate proposal happens right on stage in front of the whole crowd as she's trying to sing Jackson with him. But once it turns from a show-like country special proposal to such an intimate moment between them with the same Jackson chord still being played behind them in the background, it's so touching and tense at the same time. Every time Joaquin delivers that line, I know I've done a lot of things that have hurt you, but I promise I'll never do that again, June. I only want to take care of you. It's so beautifully touching, leading them to embrace. And the button to the audience being, in case none of y'all heard, she said yes. So damn great. This is one of the great examples that show director James Mangold's strength as a director. For you can tell he gives his actors so much love and patience, and more importantly, sensitivity for such a story. Hilarious to think the style of this film was inspired by a Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman episode. Even though Roseanne Cash wasn't very much a fan of the film either, because it made her mom look evil and her dad more devilish, the film did very well and was the highest grossing music biopic until Straight Outta Compton came out in 2015. And like I said, releasing a Grammy-winning soundtrack featuring all the actors singing and playing their own tunes. It's one of the last great soundtracks of music biopics, if you ask me. It had been a long time since I've seen it, maybe 5-ish years, but I sincerely love this film since they developed such a swell love story of two unlikely musicians that seems like a long shot, but it's amazing how they come together after such strife and past mistakes, which is why I love Johnny and June Carter's love story, staying married for 35 years until their deaths, just a few months apart from each other. All in all, folks, I give Walk the Line an A. Not A+ because the script. Okay, it could be a little too cheesy in parts, like June having a breakdown in her car and saying, it burns. Which, hey, that will inspire Ring of Fire, right? So, yeah, stuff like that can be a little too much, but not the level of Bohemian Rhapsody, for God's sake. But you talk about a solidly damn good music biopic that was nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Actor and Best Actress, of course, winning for Reese, Best Editing, Best Costume Design, which makes perfect sense because I freaking love Johnny's wardrobe, and Best Sound Mixing. If you haven't seen Walk the Line, I highly recommend it, folks. But if you have, tell me what you think. Like, share, and comment like crazy. And stay tuned for more reviews to come essentially very, very soon within this Oscar season. Thank you very much for watching, and don't take your guns to town.